You're pretty warmed up, it seems like. Can you do some rapid fire impressions for us?
Let's do it.
So it's your favorite president, and I hear we're on Harry Handles, which is the greatest podcast in the history of our country, mostly because I'm on it. And I understand that you're going to have 1 billion viewers just because of me. Believe me, I will make podcasts great again. And Mexico's going to pay for it. Hey, Harold, it's me, Joe Biden. Come on, man. Give me a break. I wanted to wish you a happy happy Thanksgiving. You know the thing with the thing, and also congratulations to my wife, Kamala Harris.
Welcome to Harry Handles It, a podcast where we dive into the world of personal growth, success strategies, and everything in between. I'm your host, Harry Nalbandian, and today we're going to chat with an incredible guest who has some amazing insights to share. Remember, no matter what life throws your way, I'm here to help you handle it. So let's get started.
Welcome to the Harry Handles It podcast. Today we've got the incredibly funny Josh Rosen on. Josh, good afternoon, morning. How you doing today?
Great to see you. Yeah, it's 2:00 on the East Coast, which is still morning for me.
That's a solid setup. Before we get any further, are you sponsored by Mountain Dew?
I'm not sponsored by Mountain Dew, but Mountain Dew, if you're listening, I would love a sponsorship.
Send the man a check.
Yeah.
What's the story behind the Dew? I've seen it in a couple shorts that you've had on YouTube.
So one of my most viral impressions, or my most viral, I should say, is Skip Bayless. I don't know if you're familiar with him or if your listeners are. He's a very famous sports media analyst, and he's been around for a while. And I started imitating him and a few years ago, and it's just kind of exploded all over Twitter, my impression of him. And he is known for drinking Diet Mountain Dew. It's one of his like vices that he drinks every day. And on the show, he used to be on TV every morning with Shannon Sharp, and they would bet cases of Diet Dew on the sports games. So, I just, when doing the impression, people started commenting like, hey, you should mix in like the Diet Dew somehow. And so I just, like, over time, I just started, I thought it would be funny to just start stacking cases behind me in every video. And so I've left it there. I haven't drinking any of the cases that you see behind me. There's like 20 cases. It's just a background.
That's pretty sweet. That's a great story. So walk me through your journey, Josh, to your comedic career evolution and, what brings you where you are today.
So when I think I've always been someone who notices things that other people maybe don't, very observational. And I think that's like the basis of like all comedy is we notice things that other people maybe aren't paying attention to. But then when we do point it out, they're like, yeah, I didn't notice that, but that's funny. That's true. So when I was like a kid in school, young kid, elementary school, I would just always watching other students, the teachers, and sometimes I would mimic them. They don't always know that I was mimicking them, but I was mimicking like the teachers and stuff and other students and friends. And I think that's where like my idea of comedy started. Is just noticing all these things about different people.
Man, when you said that resonated with me because as a trial lawyer, it's a lot of it's the same. It's all observational storytelling, right? People come in with their story already sort of written. You have to reframe it, package it, give it to the jury in a different way. But there are so many things that happen during a jury trial where you can capitalize on those moments of observation and just say a couple words and the entire room just erupts and changes the dynamic of the energy involved in the room. You go to a stand-up show, people are there paying. They know they're going to be there for a good time. Jury trials, people feel kind of hostage. Why am I here? I have to be here. So when you can take a little bit of that load off, I feel like you win a lot of points.
Yeah, 100%. Like comedy just lightens the mood. of every situation. If you can, and especially if you can laugh at yourself.
That's the big.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the biggest. I'm the biggest brunt of my own jokes.
Yeah.
So walk me through a little bit about how you took your observation. Naturally, you're more observant, in touch with the present, looking at things, processing the information. How you get that to become, an incredible impressionist when it comes to these types of comedy reels.
Well, I noticed that I have a gift for, hearing, voices and picking up on like cadence and stuff. And like that started when I was a kid. Like I said, I was doing some of the sports broadcasters like Marv Albert.
Yes, it counts. And the foul by Harry put on the Mountain Dew.
And I started doing that, and like people would give me good feedback, and I wasn't naturally unafraid. Like I used to get nervous at public speaking in front of people, so that didn't always come natural in terms of dealing with the anxiety of that. But I was always pretty good at it, though. Like I used to get like good feedback when I was a kid, and even doing like presentations in class, people would say like, "Wow, like the way you presented that was great. You've got like a good entertainment skills to be able to like present just even like a school presentation." So I knew I was good at it at a young age. And then like, for me, I was always fascinated with like just being in front of people and being able to change their state by just, you know, entertaining them in a specific way.
Yeah, and that's why stand-up comedy has such a place in my heart, because you can walk into a room with a default state, and then you walk out completely uplifted, feeling different. Got a good couple belly laughs. You feel a little lighter, and with just words. I mean, with words, gestures, and your own presentation, it's wild. What the journey you can take somebody through with a comedy skit.
Yeah, absolutely. And like something that I've always loved about comedy is if you can get a laugh without actually saying anything, just making the right face at the right time, moving a certain way, breathing a certain way. That's something that like I've always enjoyed about comedy, and something that I've tried to incorporate into my act is making people laugh the moment they look at you. That's really fun.
Yeah, big time. When did you realize, was there a specific defining moment where you realized, well, look, I can impersonate anybody and make it funny?
Um well, so and I can't there's not I have to be interested in the person I'm imitating, and they have to interest me in a way that like I think this is a funny character. So for me,
Makes sense.
like I find characters that have anxiety very funny. Anxiety, anger is a funny emotion, stress. And I can sort of relate to those characters in some ways because I've, felt those emotions, as everyone has. And so like anytime I find a character that like I understand their personality traits and I find them funny, that's someone I want to imitate. If someone's like super laid back and chill, I can imitate them, but I don't find it, as funny.
Yeah, they've got to have some exaggerating point where you can point it out to get a laugh, right? I mean, I've seen your Trump impressions, and they're awesome. I mean, your
Trump,
lips, the way they move, like it's the same.
So it's great to be with Harry. We love Harry Handles. He's really the best, okay? And nobody's got better lips than me, believe me. And my
It's
lips are not made in China.
but you see
nope,
too
homegrown.
with the Trump, I'm doing the face as much
Hmm.
squinting. He's always squinting.
I mean, it's perfect, man. Is there a process you've honed in on developing an impersonation or developing a bit? Like, do you have a formula you work through to get ready?
Yeah. So it's taken, it takes a while. Like when I first started, I wasn't even doing impressions really. I was just like, I would go up and just like I watched a lot of George Carlin and try to study him. And he fascinates me because he just did it all. And he was a wordsmith, and he was like, so prepared when he went on stage. So I used to try to like model myself after him a little bit. And then I was like, no, you know what? I've got to find my own way. Um, and then I had a friend who was like, why don't you start doing your impressions on stage? Because you're so good at it. And when I started doing that, I started doing Barack Obama when he was president a lot when I was in college. And I still didn't really know what I was doing on stage, but I would watch like other comics who I liked, um, and sort of see, okay, this is how they present it. And then like over time, I just figured out my own style that I like doing and that works.
That's so wild because in the journey of um, being a trial lawyer, I think you just described the same journey that everybody has. They have some sort of mentor or role model that they're fascinated with, that they follow, they take techniques from. But then over time, you just got to build your own style with the foundations of the things that you've learned in the past. So
Yeah,
there's a
exactly.
lot of parallels. I don't know if a lot of people see it, but I see it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like there's still remnants of like other people who I studied, other great comics that I still learn from watching them all the time. And I might say, oh, that's an interesting way to frame that or present it in that way. But then ultimately, like it's got to be your own thing.
Yeah. While we're talking about this, for you, what's the Mount Rushmore of comics that you studied, that you look to for, inspiration, just technique?
Yeah, I certainly put George Carlin on there. Don Rickles is definitely on there. Jackie Mason, Rich Little, who is a great impressionist. He's still alive, regarded as one of the best. Frank Caliendo was another great impressionist. Uh, Woody Allen, Larry David,
Classic.
and I would say those are, and Joan Rivers too. Yeah, those I would say are some of the those are the ones I would put on the Mount Rushmore. Maybe you could throw Larry David on there as well.
Yeah, Larry David is great. I was just watching a bit from one of his shows where they're sitting down for dinner. Somebody's explaining how their grandfather is still alive, but who was a kamikaze pilot back in World War II. And Larry David stops for a moment and says, "Kamikaze pilot? He's still alive? How did that happen?" And then he just drills down into the story of the guy grazing the ship, and just absolutely hilarious. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've seen that one.
I think I've seen that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
the show's great, and I like imitating Larry too, because again with him it's like
It's those faces he makes, you know. Hey, you think I really want to be on this podcast, Harry Handles? I'm good. No, thanks. It's pretty good, right? Pretty good.
Classic.
that finger wave, you know.
Well, I mean, you're pretty warmed up, it seems like. Can you do some rapid fire impressions for us?
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, ready?
I'm ready. I'm just going to sit and receive and laugh.
So it's your favorite president, and I hear we're on Harry Handles, which is the greatest podcast in the history of our country, mostly because I'm on it. And I understand that you're going to have 1 billion viewers just because of me. Believe me, I will make podcasts great again. And Mexico's going to pay for it. Hey, Harold, it's me, Joe Biden. Come on, man. Give me a break. I wanted to wish you a happy happy Thanksgiving. You know the thing with the thing. And also congratulations to my wife, Kamala Harris. Hello, Harry. It's Barack Obama, the Jewish Barack Obama. You can call me Baruch Obamowitz. I used to be obsessed with Obamacare, but now that I'm no longer president, Obama could care less. Hi, it's me, Bill Clinton. And what I'd like to say is, I have not had any relations with anyone in South Florida, but I have had relations with everyone in Central Florida. Hi, this is Senator Bernie Sanders, the top 1/10 of are controlling all the gefilte fish. This is immoral and grotesque. Free matzo ball soup for everyone. Yeah, I tell you, it's Rodney Dangerfield, I tell you, got no respect at all. I told my wife she was lousy in bed. She went out and got a second opinion. I tell you, no respect. I don't get no respect at all. God bless you, Harry. It's Pastor Joel Osteen. God bless you. Hallelujah. Every time I blink, it rains dollar bills. Will you do me a favor? Will you donate whatever money I have to Josh Impressions? I promise he'll take that money and spend it on Xbox and PlayStation. God, hallelujah.
There you go. And there's
Oh, man.
some.
There's the good belly laughs that I needed. Thank you. That was fantastic, man. How do you switch so fast between the two?
Well,
Anytime I try to do an accent, no matter what I try to do, it ends up sounding like an Indian accent for some reason.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, this is Deepak Chopra. Okay, your consciousness and your soul is related to how much sweet potatoes you eat. Thank you. Okay. A lot of it's just like repetition of knowing the characters that you're imitating and just doing it. Like I practice a lot when I'm driving because I do drive a lot, and that's the perfect place to practice different voices.
That's a good point. There's nobody around. You can make mistakes, low cost.
And sometimes I order food as different people. Like, right now I'm doing Woody Allen, and sometimes I'll do it, and the people that I'm doing it for don't know what I'm doing. And that's what makes it even funnier. I'd like an iced decaf, skim milk, because whole milk will definitely clog my arteries and move me closer to death.
So I'll
Any
go. Yeah.
any other famous lawyers or courtroom impressions that you have?
Courtroom impressions, man. I guess if I could work on a Judge Judy, I don't know,
Yeah, it'd be wild.
or someone else,
It'd be
Trump
pretty
on
funny.
trial.
That's just classic. It's gold.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun, doing it, and a lot of sports people too that I do, like Stephen A. Smith. I started doing a lot. Do you know him?
Not a big sports guy. So
Yeah.
some of these just kind of fly over my head.
Yeah, the sports ones are a lot of fun though.
Killer, yeah. I mean, the sports commentators and they all got their personalities and the way they do their things and capitalize on that.
Like Skip Bayless, he's always sighing and breathing. And in the end, Josh Rosen is that guy. He's the Michael Jeffrey Jordan of impressionists. Trust me. I've never seen anything quite like this guy.
So you're in New York now, but born in Los Angeles, raised here too?
No, I'm actually in South Florida.
Oh, South Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, you said East Coast. I don't know why I thought New York.
Yeah. I actually did live in New York for a little bit after college. And I do visit frequently, but I live mostly in South Florida.
What was the journey like from the West to the East Coast?
No issues really. Yeah. I prefer the East Coast.
I mean, Florida's pretty nice. Like pretty California-like.
Pretty California-like,
Weather-wise, yeah.
more humidity here.
Yeah.
For sure. But you just get used to it. But I like the East Coast. It's rougher here.
Yeah.
West Coast is more laid back.
What's it like? Is it different now with the internet, reels, things like that, to be able to promote yourself, or do you kind of just have to do the comedy club tour? How's that changed?
It's changed a lot. Like I spend a lot of time now on social media, at least as much time on there compared to the stage, because the reality is like people get discovered through social media now. Like that's how you get your big break, is
Yeah.
through TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. Something just goes viral, and actually a lot of the top comedians that tour now, that's how they got their audience, was through social media.
That's a good point. I saw Andrew Schultz saying something on his podcast uh, about Dave Chappelle, like maybe talking down to comedians who put up reels. I mean, there's just funny content out there on social media, but I feel like maybe that's Dave Chappelle. I suppose could say whatever he wants, but I feel like that's the new age of comedy and discovery, and resisting it is uh, not in the interest of the comedian.
Yeah, definitely not. And Chappelle comes from a different era too.
Yes.
So like, it's when he was starting, there wasn't social media. It was like you just got to get really good and then get in front of like TV people. Now the TV is social media.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep like firing away, like I do. Like I just post so many. There's no limit on how much you can post on social media. So I try to put out several videos every day, and even if only one of them hits, it's still a good day.
Yeah. For sure. And that I feel like that's changed the way that people can promote themselves big time. I mean, the business of entertainment is completely different because now you're sort of in charge of the whole show, of kind of A to Z distribution, production, editing. It's your show.
It's your show, and that's actually what appealed to me about doing stand up, is that like you go out and you can do anything. That always fascinated me. And because I would say I'm definitely a creative person, so I try to, you know, come out and not do what is expected necessarily. And all my favorite comics, like the legends that I respect, they had very unique styles. Like I never come out on stage and say, "Hey, how you doing, everyone? Good to see you all." I don't do that. I just go right into it.
You just start.
Yeah, unless like it's something where I'm hosting the show maybe, and I have to introduce myself at first. I always prefer to start as soon as I'm walking on stage. I want the audience to be like, "Oh, this is something different."
Yeah. Do you do a lot of the audience interaction type comedy that comes from the observations?
Sometimes, yeah. Well, a lot of times I do too. Obviously, I come out in character a lot. Like I'll come out as Donald Trump or Woody Allen or something,
Yeah.
and I will make it relevant to the venue I'm at. So, like Trump will start talking about wherever he's performing.
This is a beautiful venue, but not as nice as Mar-a-Lago. And
That's clever.
I see this guy in the front. He's a real nasty looking guy. He's got a big head, right? He's got a huge head.
So I'll start like roasting, audience members and stuff.
As the character, that's pretty good.
As the character, yeah.
And when you're watching your comics, your favorite comics, the Mount Rushmore comics we talked about, uh, do you have a system to study them? You just listen, observe, and report, and kind of reframe your own bits to try to evolve.
Yeah, I watch them on YouTube a lot, and a lot of times I'll even watch the same bits like over and over again. Um, like the same hour-long set, for instance, but I'll keep learning new things. Oh, like first I figure out, okay, this is their rhythm, this is their cadence, and then I'll sort of be like, okay, this is how they're getting into the jokes. I
Yeah,
really do study it, by just watching it, kind of like in a loop.
that's amazing. It's a storytelling and making people laugh with stories, It's like it's very parallel to what we do as trial lawyers, and it's something that I try to take bits and pieces from. I mean, I'm not a stand-up comedian, nor am I performing any stand-up. We're trying to make people laugh, but the principles, where somebody is just paying attention to the spoken word and maybe a gesture, I mean, that all applies. And I don't think any form of comedy, maybe theater, does that better than the change of, let's just say, consciousness through the spoken word. And what we're trying to do as trial lawyers is trying to get people to act based on a story they hear, which is something totally different. And so to inspire somebody to act, to inspire somebody to get into this zone of friction with other jurors, is a lifelong skill that we are trying to hone and evolve.
Yeah.
And stand-up comedy and the stories and rhythm all play into that role, I think, to get the people moving in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes like I'll tell a joke that is just, it'll work sometimes in front of one audience, and then another audience, it kind of falls flat. So, sometimes you run into that too. Like it's just not the right audience for that particular set you're doing.
100%. They got to be receptive to the message.
They have to be receptive, and like I did a dinner cruise for a while, for like 2 years in Fort Lauderdale. Where I had to, it was a family friendly crowd, and I had to be squeaky clean, and I still did all my impressions, but I had to really, be careful. Yeah. Couldn't do anything that would possibly, trigger someone.
An offense.
But it was actually fun to figure out how, like, at first it was tough, and then I figured out from doing it enough, like, okay, I just got to use these words instead of something that I would use in a comedy club.
And I feel like that challenge makes you only better as a comedian. It's kind of like,
yeah,
you're honing the craft and making sure that you can deliver for all audiences.
Yeah, 100%. So now, like, I feel confident in any type of audience, whether it's kids in the audience or it's a rated R show. I can play to both sides.
Well, Josh, this was a fantastic conversation today. Can you tell our viewers how to find you and look you up and get some of your content?
Yeah, I'll do it as Stephen A. Smith. All right. This brother, Josh Rosen, you can find him, Josh Impressions. That's what it says on the hat. All right. I know it's a MAGA looking hat, but it says Josh Impressions. You can find this brother, Josh Rosen, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, under the username, Josh Impressions. It is box office.
Awesome, man. Much appreciated, Mr. Smith, Mr. Rosen, and everybody else that you've impersonated. Your characters are great, man, and I'm looking for more content. Looking forward to seeing more content from you, and hope to have you on the podcast again, Josh.
Thank you, Harry. Real pleasure. Had a lot of fun being on here.
Thanks for joining us today on Harry Handles It. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found some valuable takeaways. If you're facing challenges in your own life or business, remember that you're not alone. Together, we can handle anything that comes our way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you liked what you heard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and handling life with confidence.